I think that fairness means that everyone has an equal right to get his or her needs met. But everyone's needs are different. So therefore, if you always treat everyone the same, you're really not being fair, because not everyone needs the same thing at the same time. If Samantha is able to sit at the rug without the tape at story time or circle time and behave appropriately and pay attention and respect other people's physical boundaries, then she doesn't really need the tape. What are the goals of providing discipline in the classroom? What are we trying to achieve when we set limits or have consequences, or when we discipline children? What are we trying to help them accomplish? One of the things I'm most proud of is that many teachers have said to me that I have helped change how they think about how they teach children, that they've walked out of my presentation with new ideas and a new way of approaching kids that helps them feel that they're more competent and more effective in the classroom. These are our goals, and it's really important for us to always remember what our goals are when we are thinking about disciplining kids, because I think what happens sometimes is when we're really fed up with a child, we get so exhausted and so frustrated that we've tried so hard to help these children respond appropriately, and they still are doing the same thing, and we kind of would like them to suffer for what they did. They're making our lives miserable. So, and you know what? It's okay to have that feeling. What teachers will learn from this presentation is that children are individuals, that the same cookie cutter approach is not going to work for every child. And they're going to learn certain important beliefs and ideas about how to set up classrooms, how to organize their approach to teaching, and how to work with children in a way that will help the children solve problems, will help the children communicate better with each other, and will help the teachers create a real community. What happens sometimes is we forget the reasons behind our rules. We get stuck on thinking, well, that's the rule. And what if I let her not do the rule, then what's going to happen? Say that again?
All the rest of them are.
Exactly. Nobody's going to want to sit on the tape, and all chaos will break loose. What I do when I do these trainings is I convey sophisticated psychological issues, ideas, theories in very everyday, accessible, simple, direct language. And I use a lot of humor, and I communicate in a way that is engaging. And the idea is to help teachers become more psychologically aware, more reflective and thoughtful about what they're doing in their work with kids, and at the same time have a good time, have some fun, and feel supported. We all have our strengths and our vulnerabilities, our own style, our own way of relating to kids. And it's really important to know, what are your hot button issues? What are the kinds of kids or the kinds of behaviors that are more likely to get you angry quicker than others? Because whenever there's a behavior going on in the classroom, there's two things happening. There's the behavior and there's the response. So in order for you to manage the behavior, you have to look at what your response is. Also, punishment is not usually a helpful approach to working with children. Discipline has to do with helping children learn to play productively, and I give teachers strategies for planning their program, organizing their classroom, setting up their programs to meet the children's developmental needs so that they don't have to focus on consequences and punishment. So instead of saying, uh-oh, no sand on the head, out of the sandbox for timeout for 2 minutes, do you see the difference? Because the goal is to enable the child to play in the sandbox appropriately. That is the goal. The goal is not to make him suffer or feel bad because sand got on somebody else. You know, kids are very impulsive. They do stupid stuff. They're extremely childish, you know. That's how kids are. So it's our job to kind of modulate that and to kind of step in so that we can step back out. And if we can step in with an intervention that will enable a conflict to get resolved before it becomes some huge thing, and enable the play to continue, we don't have to worry about 110 ways to punish your preschooler, because that's not what it's all about. It's all about play. I want to convey to teachers that children need to have their feelings and their impulses and their wishes accepted and understood even when their behaviors are not. The next best thing to preventing problems is moving in early before they become big problems. And I know that parents do this a lot. I think sometimes we do it too as teachers. I know that I did it as a parent. I would see that look in my child's eye kind of early in the morning, and I would think, oh no, are we starting this already? You know, it's 7:30. Maybe if I ignore it, it'll go away and I won't have to have the temper tantrum. But my experience has been that if the glint is in the eye and the words have come out of the mouth, it's not going to go away. And if I ignore it, it's only going to escalate and it's going to get worse. And eventually we're going to have the limit and the temper tantrum, and it's better to get it over earlier than later and have a better day. So the same thing is true in the classroom. If you see certain kinds of behaviors that you know are triggers or are difficult, they're going to lead to problems, move in then. Say, you know, when I hear your voice getting loud like that, I know that means you're starting to get angry. How can we help you use good hands? And you're already moving in. You know, you're already right there. Just when you hear that voice start to raise, because the next second after the voice raises, it's going to be this. So you move in right before that, and you can't always move in before that, but many times you'll be able to if you get attuned to what are, trigger behaviors, difficult, signs that things are going amiss. Intervene early. One of the things I'm most proud of is that many teachers have said to me that I have helped change how they think about how they teach children, that they've walked out of my presentation with new ideas and a new way of approaching kids that helps them feel that they're more competent and more effective in the classroom. And that makes me feel great. I also love it when teachers tell me, and this happens frequently, that not only have they learned about how to be better teachers, but they've also learned about how to be better parents. So I've accomplished both of my major career goals in one presentation.
Great.
Plan ahead for success rather than reacting to failure. So if you know that Billy is likely to start throwing blocks when you say it's cleanup time, go over to Billy before you say it's cleanup time and say to him, Billy, it's going to be cleanup time in a minute. I'm going to help you put away the blocks today. Or, Billy, it's going to be cleanup time in a minute. I'd like you to come over by me and help clean up the housekeeping area. There's a variety of things that you can do to plan ahead so that Billy won't constantly be throwing blocks when it's cleanup time. But you have to have a plan, and you have to notice the pattern, and you have to be aware that this has become something that happens regularly. You are setting the foundations for their entire success as future human beings. That is what you're doing as preschool teachers, and you should all give yourselves a huge round of applause for that. If one truly understands what fairness means, then one will not need to have 110 ways to punish your preschooler. A teacher will be able to only occasionally need a discipline intervention if they plan their program and set up their classroom and have practices and individualized ways of intervening with children that meet their needs.